Hey, monkey, do you know what time it is? That's right, it's time for Joel and the Monkey. One is hairy and the other smells funny. Joel and the Monkey. One loves bananas and the other loves money. Joel and the Monkey Show. Joel and the Monkey was not filmed in front of a live studio audience.
And we're on. Hey guys, this is the Joel and the Monkey Show. I'm Joel, and my hairy co-host is the Monkey. Go ahead and say hi. Yeah, if you could put the little mic a little away from your face. No, it's fine. You guys know there's a monkey here. That's all that matters. So hey, let's go ahead and just dive right into the show. And let's talk about something interesting that's not politics related, because I think we've all heard a little bit enough of that. There was a woman recently. I don't know how much you keep up with medical news or anything of that sort, but there was a woman recently who died, as people sometimes do, but she was actually one of the first people to receive a transplant from an animal. Basically, she was on a wait list. She had a list of medical issues, and she was waiting for a new heart and a new kidney, and they essentially said, there's no way you're going to get that, and so we're not putting you on the list. And even if we do put you on a list, you will be so low on the totem pole, you will probably be dead before we ever get around to you. So some doctors actually approached her and wanted to see if she wanted to be involved in a experimental surgery where they would actually take a pig kidney and put it in her. She was ecstatic about the idea, was definitely willing to give it a shot, which is very brave. Not a lot of people would really be up for that idea. So I really, take my hat off to her. So they did the surgery. It actually wasn't a partial success. She was able to keep the kidney for a couple months, and then her body ended up actually rejecting it, and they had to have another surgery to remove the kidney, and then later she would end up dying due to other medical complications. And there's a lot to the medical side of that story that I definitely encourage you people to read up on, because I'm no doctor and I'm no expert on anything to give my opinion about. So I definitely tell you to check it out. It's definitely an interesting read. Even though she did die, she did actually make some really good leaps and bounds for the medical industry. Or should I say field? I mean, industry, field, tomato, tomato. Long story short, it was actually a really cool thing what she did. And I don't think a lot of people really look at the medical field as the Wild West, but it is still very much so the Wild West. I mean, the science industry and field in general is very much so a Wild West type of scenario. There's lots of crazy things going on behind the scenes that a lot of us aren't really privy to that are actually really cool. And it's something I thought would be kind of nice to talk about. And if you get a chance, definitely look it up. So jumping into something I know Monkey loves very much, conspiracy theories. Woo, I know. Monkey, he's getting excited already. Monkey loves this stuff. But I don't want to talk about it like, was JFK assassinated by another president, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to talk about any like kooky, weird things. Is the FBI experiment on homeless people? I want to talk about the fun ones, man. I want to dive into the ones that really don't change anything, honestly. And one that I think would be fun to talk about is a lot of you may or may not remember Osama bin Laden, real evil dude, responsible for 9/11 and lots of just awful stuff here in America. But it wasn't that long ago that he was killed, and the anniversary of his death, it wasn't that long ago that passed. And so I want to talk about something that not a lot of people are talking about when it comes to Osama bin Laden. That's his porn catalog, or I should say his movie catalog, adult movie catalog. See, when they raided Osama bin Laden's cave, they found weapons and all kinds of stuff. But something that was also found was apparently Osama bin Laden was a very avid adult movie collector. Now, he had a long, list of movies and apparently magazines. And also, I can't really confirm this 100%, but apparently he was a big anime fan. There's lots of rumors going around about him possibly being really big in anime, which I think would be hilarious if Osama bin Laden was watching like anime porn, or I should say animated adult movies. I think that would be hilarious. I want to know why it's been over 10 years, and I want to know why the government hasn't released that list. Everybody keeps talking about Epstein, but I want to know what the list is, man. What movies was he watching? Or was it just adult movies? What if a lot of was a big fan of The Notebook? Are they worried about the truth coming out and that hurting The Notebook's, movie sales? What if he was a big Marvel fan? What if he thought Iron Man was the best film ever? Or is Disney trying to hide that? Is secretly Osama bin Laden a big Robert Downey Jr. fan? And Disney's worried about how that could hurt their image. You know what? I really think they should release a list. I think it's something we all should know, because I don't want to be a big fan of a movie that I know a terrorist leader is a big fan of. I love A Walk to Remember. That was also Osama bin Laden's favorite movie too. That would, definitely be life-changing. I need to know. And I think all of America and the world deserves to know if we are, spanking the monkey. Well, I know, it's just a pun. Just a pun. If we're spanking the monkey into something that had some a lot of spanking the monkey, or if our favorite adult star is also his, I think that really be emotionally shocking to a lot of people. And I think it's something that's not really being talked about. Forget Epstein's list. I want to know what's Osama bin Laden's list. What's skeletons are in those closets? What's not being talked about? I think it's a big thing the government's trying to hide, and the more they keep trying to censor it, the more I'm thinking there might be something to it. Maybe that recent adult star that's gone after Trump, maybe that was one of Osama bin Laden's big faves. And maybe they don't want that coming out. Maybe it might change a lot of stuff. Stormy Daniels, yeah, that's her name. I can't remember that. Thinks monkey. Yeah, maybe she was one of Osama bin Laden's big number one faves. And if that truth came out, it really hurt the trial. What are they not telling us? And I hope, if whoever becomes the next president, that they declassify that. It should be one of their number one things. I think we all could use a little closure. I think a lot of people out there deserve to know the truth. But and this is purely joking aside. I'm not a big Osama bin Laden fan or anything crazy like that. I don't want you to be like, really, this is really insensitive. I'm purely joking, and if you can't understand that, then maybe you're the problem. You're what's ruining this country. That's right, monkey. Get upset. In all seriousness, I do think it would be worth a good chuckle, and that would be absolutely hilarious if all of a sudden, a few months from now, they release a list telling us what all of Osama bin Laden's favorite movies and stuff were. I think everybody around the world would just be kind of shaking their heads, just wondering why the hell that's important. But it's I think very much so something that should be talked about. But hey, spread the word. It needs to be talked about more around the water cooler. Definitely bring this up with your coworkers. We need to get the word out there. We need to start putting pressure on the government. Get this list revealed. We deserve to know. We need that closure. You're happy, monkey? Okay. We talked about some of his favorite stuff. He loves this. He's eating it up.
And I wanna swing into the trees. 'Cause you know the
So let's go ahead and jump into the next little segment here. I'm going to step on my soapbox for a minute. And that's a normal response I would expect. Yeah, Monkey seems very upset and annoyed, and I'm sure some of you might be. It might not be your favorite segment, or this might be, you may agree with a lot of what I have to say, and you may like this a lot. But I kind of really honestly want to talk about the comic book industry and really comic book writing as a whole. It's just very bland and boring right now. There's not really any interesting stories coming out. There's not really anything interesting being done. And no one's really talking about anything going on in the comic industry. And a lot of it comes down to writing. It's bland. It's boring. And I think pinpointing a big issue is they're so worried about, and Marvel is especially really bad about this, everything's got to be connected. You can't just have a Daredevil story be a Daredevil story, or a Spider-Man story be a Spider-Man, or Hulk, or X-Men. Nobody can just have their own story. Everybody's got to be interwoven and interconnected. Whatever's going on in Spider-Man has to affect Daredevil, or, Hulk, or X-Men. Even though some of these characters very seldom even interact with each other, they still has to be some big aftermath or big effect that gets, pushed into each character's comic book story. And no one cares. If I'm reading Hulk, I want to read Hulk. I don't care about how Hulk was affected by what went on with Spider-Man in issue 15, or how Hulk was affected by what happened with the X-Men when they were fighting Magneto in issue 34, 35, and 36. No one has time to read everybody's stories. They just want to read the character they want to read. And that's a big turnoff. And it's one of the big reasons why a lot of people go to mangas or the mangas, and just even the anime stuff is even really popular, because I can pick up a manga in issue 1 and read it all the way through, and I don't have to interconnect it to some other story or read something else to kind of have a good idea what's going on. I can just pick up 1 and go straight to 2 and 3 and so on. But you can't really do that in comic books. You pick up issue 1, you may be completely confused on what's going on because you didn't read the backstory of so-and-so, or didn't know about the aftermath or big, story plot that they were pushing that everybody got sucked into. And it's just very frankly annoying for anybody who's an avid comic book reader to anybody who's just wanting to get into comic books. If somebody asked me, hey, what would be a great series to start for Spider-Man, or what would be a good issue to start on, I would tell them don't read any of it, because if you haven't read Spider-Man 1, you're going to have no idea what's going on when you get to Spider-Man number 800, or so on. Especially if you haven't read any of the other Spider People stories, you're not going to know anything about what's going on even in issue 1. And that's just a really sad thing, and it's turning off a lot of customers. If you go to comic book stores, comic books are up to like $6 for just an issue, where it used to be $3 10 years ago, and even further back than that, $1, 50 cents, 25 cents. Comic books have gotten insanely, stupidly expensive. And if you're jumping into a character's story for the first time and you're paying $6 or $7 for an issue, and you don't even know what the hell is going on, it's very frustrating. But also, story writing now is so focused on the plot twist 10 issues down the road, or the big reveal a couple issues down the road, that they're not focusing on writing a story right here and there, right here and then, I should say. And that's frustrating. Just give us a beginning, a middle, and end. I don't need a beginning, a middle, and a cliffhanger, and then another cliffhanger, and then another cliffhanger, and then the big shocking reveal. That's annoying. If you can't even get somebody to read past issue 1 and 2, how can you expect them to get all the way to issue 5 or 6? And there's a reason why a lot of comic books now are constantly being rebooted after just 30 issues, or in some cases, they're just ending after 5, because they're so focused on that reveal that even if the people do get all the way to issue 5, if the payout isn't all that great, you're going to be really ticked, and you're not going to be willing to buy any further comic books for that series, or maybe even comic books from that company at all. DC's bad about it. Marvel's bad about it. Image. There was a Valiant, Dark Horse. There's a bunch of them. They're all very bad about this. Isn't it just a DC or Marvel thing? They're all very bad about this. Marvel especially, you notice this a lot with how they do their movies. That also bleeds into how they do their comic books. If you want to know what's going on with the new Captain America movie and you haven't watched any of the other 50-something superhero films that Marvel's put out, you're not gonna understand certain references or who certain characters are, or even a villain's backstory, and that's frustrating as a moviegoer. Now imagine a comic book industry where there's a whole catalog of thousands of comic books that you've never read, and if you haven't read them all, God help you, you're not going to know what's going on. And it's something I wish we would get away from. Get back to telling just a story as it should be told, with a beginning, middle, and end. Just like how somebody would write a book, you don't write a book for the cliffhanger. You give somebody the general story that they want. And if they want to read more, they can. But if they don't ever pick up a second issue or third issue, they're still given a satisfying story. And that's what we need to get back to. And I know, I know, Monkey, I'm rambling. I'll wrap it up. Yeah, Monkey's got a short attention span, as some of you may also have short attention spans. Yeah, just kind of wrap it up. Get back to just telling just a decent story. Superhero loses a power, has something bad happen to him. They overcome the obstacle and they save the day. Just get back to that, man. Get back to telling good stories. That's all we want. In the end, we just want to be entertained. You can't do a part 1, a part 2, and so on, or a big event. I do want to emphasize that you can still do that. That has been done very well. But you can't do it all the time. That gets annoying. There's a reason people talk about Flashpoint or Civil War or whatever. You know, a Crisis on Infinity Earth, name something. There's a reason people do talk about those things, is because they are rare events in the comic book industry, or they used to be rare events in comic books, and it should stay that way. Spider-Verse is only 5 issues, and it's done very well. And there's nothing wrong with doing those stories. Don't make it an every other issue kind of thing like it's being done now. And that's really it. There's not really much else I can say on that matter, and I think I've beat that dead horse enough, so I'll just kind of move on. I do also want to say, just keep politics out of comic books. There's nothing wrong with using real-world references, but just, we hear it enough. Just keep it out of there. But that's something to talk about on another day. Monkey's starting to foam at the mouth, and I don't want to get bitten. So we'll move on to something else here. So we're kind of winding down to the last little bit of the show. I know it's not a very long show. We'll see how things go. Maybe we'll stretch these out. If you guys really like what I'm talking about, you like to listen to me ramble, you like hearing Monkey's heavy breathing into the mic. I keep telling you to put that thing a little away from your face, but you just don't listen to me. Typical. But so I want to kind of talk about my war stories. My personal Vietnam. I've seen some things, man. I've done some stuff. I wouldn't recommend it. But, so I want to go ahead and tell you a little story about the time I got a concussion, a major concussion, actually. And, of course, in a very stupid way, because I've never gotten hurt in a really cool way. I've never gotten stitches from wrestling a bear, or got a real bad burn from pulling some kid out of a burning building. It's like, no, just that was grease fire, and that was my cat that scratched me real bad. But this is a time I got a major concussion. I was actually going through EMS training, and we would meet every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And usually Saturday was when we did our training. And in this special occasion, we were practicing removing people from vehicles, and basically doing it in a way where we wouldn't jack up their spine or wouldn't cause any sort of neck injuries or any further injuries in any way. And so when I was practicing pulling somebody out of a vehicle, we were, of course, using real vehicles that were destroyed or demolished or that were badly damaged. So everything seemed like a real scenario. We even had firemen there on scene who would actually practice cutting out doors or smashing windows to make everything seem as real as possible. We wanted everything with this program was pretty legit. It was actually done through the state. And we had a nice class of about 35, 40 people. It was pretty good size, but getting back to the topic, I was pulling somebody out of a vehicle, or was practicing pulling somebody out of a vehicle, and I ended up whacking the back of my head on the inside of the car. Just normal, stupid thing we all do on a regular basis. You think you cleared the car, and you end up whacking your head. And I had a little Homer Simpson moment. I was, dope. That really hurt. Said some curse words, and just kind of moved on about my day. And being a typical guy, I never think anything serious of any injury of any sort that I ever received. And always think, hey, if I just walk it off or I just get some sleep, it'll all go away. Well, about 2 weeks later, I started getting splitting headaches. It hurt every time I woke up. Breathing, reading, thinking, everything just hurt. And it finally got to a point after the 2-week mark where I just had to see a doctor. And went in, saw the doctor, told him the situation, and the doctor was like, yeah, you have a major concussion, stupid. You need to take it easy. And he recommended basically take 2 weeks and just do nothing. Just be a vegetable, lay down, complete silence and in a quiet room, and don't do anything. No strenuous exercise, no running around, do anything crazy. Don't drive unless you really have to. Just take it basically easy. Go sit on the hammock, drink a, mojito, and just relax. Just veg out, man. And of course, I didn't do that. I have a job, and I have bills that I need to pay. The EMS stuff, that was just something I was doing on the side. It wasn't quite a job. It wasn't a job quite yet. And so I went to work. I was a manager at that job. So of course, I'm running around. I'm making schedules. I'm dealing with, annoying customers or, employee problems. I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot, and none of it was relaxing or stress-free in any way, shape, or form. And actually, in 2 separate instances, I almost passed out at work. There was one incident, I was checking out a customer, and I saw complete white. I was smart enough that at least brace myself against the counter, and I don't think the customer kind of realized what was going on, but everything kind of went white for me for a second. And then when my vision returned and everything's getting back to normal, I just told the customer, hey, sorry, I just got a little lightheaded and not been feeling good lately. And the customer went, no, it's cool. So what's the total? And I started ringing up this self-centered customer. What about my day? And then another time at work, I was talking with a customer. We were just chit-chatting, having a casual conversation. And yeah, just similar situation. Everything went completely white. I was smart enough at this point that I sat down and waited for my vision to return, which returned after just a few seconds, or what felt like just a few seconds. Could have been 5 minutes of this customer just staring at me like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? But for me, it just felt like a few seconds. They give like the TV goes staticky, and then you whack it, and the color just slowly boom and turns back on. That's kind of what happened to me. I just saw nothing but white, and I sat down, and then after a few minutes, the color returned, and I went right back to the conversation. I told the guy, hey, sorry, I was just feeling a little lightheaded. I need to sit down for a moment. And the guy went, no, it's cool. And we went right back to talking about Chicago Bears or, whatever was on TV at the time. Just, hey, it's a normal day. Really, I was very stupid, and I should have stayed home and rested. Like the doctor told me, I could have easily blacked out while driving, or obviously made things 10 times worse. Just one of those learning moments. Really, not cool thing that happened. Looking back, it's funny. At the time, it was very stupid. Very stupid the way I handled it. And it was very stupid how I got the concussion. It couldn't be from a boxing match or something fun. And I actually did fight. I did do some fighting competitions, and I did do martial arts for a while. Never got a concussion, man. All the times I've been hit in the head, this, that, the other. Nope. Whack my head getting out of a car door or getting on a car door or whatever. That's how I get major concussions. I don't know about you and how you get fun injuries, but I don't get them in the cool ways. It's scores me any brownie points with the women. Nope, just only silly, laughable injuries for me. But that's my war story. That's my little Vietnam moment. And I hope you got a good laugh, a little chuckle at my stupidity. Or, you may be absolutely shocked and horror at my story, maybe sitting there going like, wow, my God, this guy's an idiot. He could have killed somebody. He could have hurt himself. But you know what? That's the point of these stories. You get to laugh at my stupidity and my ignorance of situations. And Monkey certainly enjoys listening to stories of my pain and suffering. He always gets a good little chuckle out of it because he's evil like that. He's an evil monkey. I'm just kidding. I love the little guy. But We hope you've enjoyed all of our fun stories and enjoyed listening to me ramble. And I hope you guys will definitely check out any future episodes that we put out. Well, I hope to be doing a bunch of these more in the future. And if there's anything you like to listen to me ramble or talk about, or anything fun you like for me to touch on, you go ahead and you shoot us a little email or something. We'll figure it out. But you guys have a wonderful day, and as always, stay classy.